Hello and welcome. I recently released a new update of Shield Tracker, and the focus of that update was a major rewrite of the user interface code. And so in this video I just briefly wanted to show you what the new UI looks like, and I hope that you're convinced that everything looks much nicer and much more inviting to play with. So first of all, here we have this polysampler track, and this is what the new patch UI looks like. So I'll just go to an empty patch here. We can briefly load a sample, and yeah, this is what it looks like. We now have these clearly marked sections for example, here everything is for the filter. Here are the oscillators, and as you can see, for the different oscillators, we now have the settings side by side. For the envelopes, it's the same story. We have the settings grouped together, and so I hope that visually everything is much more clear now. A lot of the settings here have like updated labels to make them more readable, and also some of the settings, like for example these Boolean settings, now clearly state on and off instead of 0 and 1, which has caused confusion in the past. In the same spirit, also the modulation page has seen some update, and so the selection of the modulation source and potential parameters for these sources have been merged. So for example, here we can select a source and we can use the modulators just as before, and now we also have to select which modulator we want to use for the modulation. And so this is now all in one line, and hopefully this is quite a bit more clear now. Also, the modulation still supports this combination of modulation sources. For example, we can add them together and it still works exactly the same as before. It's just that it should be quite a bit more clear now what is going on under the hood. The project settings also have been refreshed, so we have these new menus here, and all of the settings are now in these sub-pages here. And again, I hope that makes it easier to find stuff. We can still also browse the pages here just as before. But yeah, so we have settings also grouped together in one line, so we can put more information on the screen while still not giving up any visual clarity. What we see here is also a new feature. So I added an Octo LFO inspired by some Eurorack module. So we have one common speed setting that affects all of the LFOs, and we can also select the ratios for these LFOs. So if it's like some awkward fraction, then we can see that the tracker will simplify the fraction for us if it can. So like this 2/3, for example. And we can also modulate the speed of this LFO. So for example, we could modulate it with itself. Now we can see that we get a little bit more irregular behavior of this LFO. Another feature that I brought back, which I removed at some point, is Quantization. And the Quantization, it's edited here in the project settings. And so we can set up scales here. So we have this first column, which is the root node of the scale. And then on the right, we can see also this keyboard where the nodes that are in the scale are indicated. So we start by adding a root node here. Let's pick, for example, F. And then for each semitone of this scale, we can decide whether we want to keep it or if we want to shift it up to the next node of the scale, or if we want to shift it down to the next node of the scale, like so. And there's also a couple presets for scales that are built in, so it's not many yet, but at some point I'm planning to add more. So we can go into this menu here and select like the scale and apply the scale preset. And so now this quantization scale is ready to be used. And so if we want to use it, then we can create a new pattern here, for example. I'll use the same patch as is playing this other pattern. And so one situation where this quantization is useful is if we have a table that applies like certain offsets and semitones to this root node or base node that we programmed in the pattern. And so now these would oftentimes be out of the scale and it would sound weird. So I'll play it in a second. Let's make it loop around here, and then we can also program like another node here. And yeah, so everything is stopped. Let's just play this pattern and see what it sounds like. So yeah, that's maybe a little bit funky, but now we can just use the quantization. Here we select which columns we want to affect, 0, 1, 2, 3, or all of them. Let's just use all of them. And then the scale 0 here. And on the bottom right, we can also see like this little graphic of the scale that is now going to be applied. And so now the melody is in scale. And so all of the notes that we place here, everything will be quantized to the scale. And if we want, we can also disable the quantization again. So we use the node off here as a scale index, or magic as it's called internally. And then it's turned off again. Another feature that I introduced here is that we can also edit using the scale. So if we press this button here, make this the current edit scale. So now we can see that quantized editing is turned on and the edit scale is the scale 0, 0. If we now create yet another new pattern, and let's use the patch here. So if we now edit the notes here, then all of them will always be out of the scale. So I will not be able to program a melody with the wrong notes anymore. Let's maybe make these all a little bit lower octave, and I'll just make this pattern 16 steps long, and let's see. So yeah, all of these notes like now come from the scale, and I am not able to select the wrong ones. I can also demonstrate like we have this we have the edit preview since a couple version of Shield Tracker. So if you hold the start button instead of the edit button and then dial in the values and your cursor is on the note, then it will play a preview. And so we can also do that during the playback. So now I hold it here and can dial in the note. And we can also do the same even in this patch memory dialog. So I can trigger the note using the start key and dial in this value while I'm holding it. Yeah, so these are like the main new features. I hope you enjoy them. I hope you enjoy the new UI. And maybe also one of the bigger new features is that the tracker now works pretty well on macOS. So actually, I'm currently running it on a MacBook Pro with an M4 chip. And yeah, everything should be working now. There's low latency audio and jitter-free MIDI. So the MIDI timing should be very tight and accurate. So yeah, so that's it from me, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.